Oh hi. Are you disappointed yet? No? Let me do that for you.
The ninth generation of gaming has been the world's most boring generation of consoles since, ever? Honestly, it just feels like a repeat of the 8th generation. I feel for whatever reason, the two main consoles from Sony and Xbox just lacked an identity for one reason or another. I mean, the Switch is fine, but technically speaking, the Switch is last gen. Starting with the console I have the least experience with this generation, the PS5. It's kind of just a boring console. I honestly don't know anything about it. I've never really been a PlayStation type of girl, and I've always been more of an Xbox user myself. And for once, that's worked out in my favour, because this gen is the first time in a long time I think it's safe to say that Sony's lost the generation. I mean, yeah, they have more sales, but what really is a sale if there's no games? So here's a list of every PS5 game that I know isn't an exclusive to that console. I actually don't know anything about the PS5. I mean, yeah, you could say that about the PS4, but even then I could name a few exclusives at least, and good exclusives at that. However, with the PS5, I just don't see any reason to buy one. Unless you like the PlayStation and you want to support Sony best you can, then fair enough. But in my opinion, it's just boring, and yeah. However, if there's one thing I'll say, the PS5 has its own identity from its predecessor, unlike the Xbox. The Xbox this generation has no separate identity to the Xbox One. The design is different, sure, but who cares about that? It's still just a black bit and nothing. I mean, the Series S was a bit different, but while I'm on the topic of the Series S and X, those names are awful. I remember saying back when they came out that they were too similar to the Xbox One, X and S, and I said that those who aren't too familiar with video games would get them confused, and I was right. My nan, for example, always gets them confused, as my little sister has an Xbox One X, that I might add is not even remotely obsolete at this point, nearly 4 years after its successor came out. And my nan will always get the names confused, so before it's even been brought, you can already see the similarities between the Xbox One and the Xbox Series consoles. The other thing is the console's HUD. Here is the Xbox 360 and Xbox One's HUD next to each other, and this is the Xbox One and the Series X consoles next to each other. Hang on, no, I lied. This is both the Xbox One. This is the issue that is really shocking about the Series X. It just looks the exact same as the Xbox One when it starts up. I remember when I first turned on my Xbox Series X, and I was just a bit disappointed at the fact that it was just completely the same thing. It's just boring, why would you do this? Oh yeah, let's start this new generation with a bang by keeping the consoles pretty much the same as the old ones. I mean, the HUD has changed since the original release, but it's shit, so it doesn't even count. And the Xbox One has it, so what's even the point? It's literally just the same. This is clearly an issue with the consoles, that it just has no identity. Of course, this was an issue that everyone said with the Wii U, but the Wii U had its own identity, whereas these Xboxes, they don't. There's no difference to them. I've always hated this about the new Xboxes, because it's just really disappointing, really. The Xbox hasn't really had any, different games released for it that also aren't on the Xbox One. At least to my knowledge, of course. And I like to consider myself tapped into video game news. I know GTA 6 won't be on the Xbox One, but other than that, I have no idea if any Xbox Series X and S games aren't on the Xbox One. This gives casuals no real reason to buy a Series X or S instead of just buying an Xbox One X or something. I still like the Xbox over the PlayStation, despite all what I've been moaning about for the last 4 minutes. But I think that just goes to prove how boring the PlayStation is.
And quickly looking over what Nintendo's been doing recently, you could say they're still stuck in the past. I mean, this is, by definition, 8th gen hardware. Personally, I see it as 9th generation, but officially it is the 8th. But they release hit after hit. Some of these are bad examples, but Mario Wonder, fucking decent game. Scarlet and Violet have been fun to play. I don't care what people say, oh, the bad performance. They're fun games, I've enjoyed them. Nintendo Switch Sports was okay for what it was. I don't know why they did it, but they still did it. It was fun. Mario Odyssey, one of the best Mario games ever made. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the best Smash Brothers game ever. Oh, I know Meelee's really good. I don't give a fuck. That's the thing. Nintendo are just focusing on fun games, and they're actually doing successfully. This has its own identity. Like, the controllers come off the fucking thing. Of course it has its own identity. What does the Xbox or PlayStation have against the Switch? What does the Xbox or PlayStation have? Oh, it's graphics. And there's no use to have graphics if there aren't any fucking games to play on the fucking rings. And I'm just sick of that being like, oh, this is why you should get it, it looks amazing. Okay, the PS5, oh yeah, the 2 games that are on there, oh yeah, I really need graphics for that. The Xbox, admittedly it has more games, yes, but you still could just play them on the Xbox Series X. There's not that much of a difference. It's pretty much the same thing. So it baffles me how boring this generation has been. It really does. It's a mystery on how they fucked it up this badly. Anyway, this isn't the worst thing to do with this generation though, no. There is one more issue I have with this generation of gaming. Digital only consoles. But I'm not going to talk about those right now, because if I do, I think I might die. So, I will talk about them, and I will talk about them very soon.